All right. Well, welcome to this talk. It's going to be on URCL. It's a universal reduced computer language. A brief overview of the talk. I will start by saying what it actually is. I'll talk about where we got the idea from, why it's actually useful. I'll talk a bit about the language itself, like the syntax, and how it compiles down to assembly languages. And then I'll give you some examples and things that people have made with it. So it said on the main slide, but URCL stands for, well, firstly, universal, because it's an intermediate language that's designed to be compiled down to as many assembly languages as possible. So this means that if you write a program in URCL, it can be run on as many CPUs as possible. The R stands for reduced because it's designed to be simple. And then CL is simply computer language. I think that's fairly self-explanatory. So it's an assembly-like intermediate language. So it doesn't run on a CPU directly, but rather it compiles down to the assembly languages of many CPUs and runs in that way. And the goal is to bridge the gap between different CPU assembly languages and also high-level languages like C or Python. Now, some of you may have heard of LLVM. For now, you can think of URCL as a simpler version of that with reduced features. So, some context. I just mentioned custom CPU assemblies. So, what does that actually mean? If you've looked on YouTube, you might have had something like this recommended to you. Chungus 2, a very powerful 1 Hz Minecraft CPU. Um, or something like this, Quicksort, a factorial computer. Or a programmable computer in Scrap Mechanic. All three of these are homemade CPUs made by strangers on the internet who have no connection to each other. And they're all made in different games on different platforms with different architectures. But the thing is, they're all very similar in that they all do the same thing. They all have an arithmetic logic unit. They all process the same core instructions. They all add numbers. They all have conditional branching. But the thing is that none of them are compatible with each other, or actually anything else. You can't run real life programs written in programming languages and compile them down to run on these CPUs. Essentially, they're isolated and you can't really do anything with them. So after they're made, they're kind of just forgotten about. But that's not really a good thing. It shouldn't really be the case that people spend all this time making these computers just for them to be thrown away. So some of us who have been doing this actually came together and thought, we can solve this problem by making a language to bridge that gap so that you can write a program in this universal programming language, which can run on these custom CPUs. The idea is to support pre-existing CPUs and any future CPUs that people might make. So here's a snippet of assembly language from the Chungus 2 CPU, which was shown before. So as you can see, it has opcodes on the left and operands on the right, listed, separated by commas. It's a fairly simple structure, and the instructions are quite basic too. Now, if we look at a different CPU, this is one that I made myself, the syntax for the assembly language is very similar. You can see that it shares the same add instruction on both sides. The registers are still denoted with $signs, and the operands are listed on the right. Now, this structure is quite common between most assembly languages. So this is something we can work with. because we have two different languages which are fundamentally similar. The only thing that's different is the syntax and the implementation. So what URCL does is it abstracts away from the things that are different and it focuses on the things that are the same. So all CPUs will be able to add numbers. All CPUs will be able to like store values and perform logical operations. It doesn't necessarily matter how they do it. All that matters is that the end result is the same. So the next step is actually creating the language and having a physical syntax setup. So the best way to do this, we thought, was to format it like an assembly language, because if the syntax is already similar, it makes the transition over to real assembly languages easier. Now, URCL is based on a 3-operand load-store architecture, which means you have a set of registers and a bank of memory locations, where data is passed between memory and registers. And 3-operand means that each instruction operates on, at most, 3 values. So what does a line of URCL code look like then? Well, it's formatted like this. So, like before, you have the opcode on the left and 3 operands on the right, and B and C are the inputs. So, in a high-level language, it might look something like this, where you assign the result of a function ints operating on B and C to the value A. Another thing to bear in mind is the fact that each line of code is atomic. And what that means is you can translate each line of a URCL program one by one, and there are no dependencies. So in a normal assembly language, you might have a calculation such as add, which could set a flag. You could say if A plus B equals 0, then do something else. But the fact is that the calculation of doing A plus B and then the statement
branch if 0 are split across different lines. This means that instructions have dependencies on previous instructions,
which we've removed in URCL to make it as simple as possible. Now, more simply put, we can assign an implementation in any assembly language we like to each individual instruction. So if we take an example, we have the add instruction, which operates on 3 registers, register 1, register 2, and register 3, labeled R1, R2, and R3. So the first thing to read here is the instruction. It's add. And the definition of add in URCL is it will add R2 and R3, storing the result in R1. The operands, each one is prefixed with the letter R, which means it's a register. Now, there isn't a fixed limit on the number of registers, but generally computers only have a handful, so it's best not to go overboard. Now, if we want to translate this to an assembly language, the best way to do it is to provide an implementation. So here's an example. I've shown a comment. So the function of add is to set the value of R1 to the sum of R2 and R3. Now, using my own assembly language from before, I can write a piece of code that's equivalent to this. Essentially, it emulates the instruction. But the thing is, this doesn't need to happen on strictly R1, R2, and R3. They could be any values, A, B, and C. Because in URCL, there are only really 2 operand types, registers and constants, which are just numbers. So these implementations can be provided in a configuration file for any target CPU. So one single compiler can compile a URCL program to many different CPUs, and all you need to provide is a list of implementations. Now, this is like addition, subtraction, right shift, but in the documentation, there are instructions like signed barrel shift right. Now, that is a very complex function. So, how do we approach this problem? Because we can't really expect CPU designers to implement something like that in their own assembly language. The answer is we can provide a translation and implementation of this instruction using simpler URCL instructions. And in fact, we can keep doing this and repeating the process until we're left with a handful of instructions, which that's all we will need to run any program. So, as it turns out, there are 7 of these core instructions. Add, an instruction called im to set the contents of a register to a constant. Right shift, load to load a value from memory. Store to store a value in memory. Bitwise NOR, because NOR is a universal logic gate, so you can use this to emulate all the other bitwise operations. And finally, a bit of a long one, branch if greater than or equal to, which is a comparison which can be used to measure equality, inequality, less than, and all the others. So this is how we implement conditional branching in the language. So with these 7 instructions, you can construct any other function, such as multiplication, division, square root, anything. So this is all you need to support to run any URCL program. So this is what makes URCL more accessible than something like LLVM. It's because it's simple to set up, and it works for simple CPUs too. There are many example programs that we have written in URCL, and this is why it's great for new CPUs, because after you've constructed your computer, you have a variety of programs which you can run, like maze generation, sorting algorithms. There's an operating system in the works. It's not finished yet, but it looks good so far. Some graphical programs, a line drawing algorithm, and a shape renderer. These are all things that are really useful to have when you're going through the debugging process of making a computer. Now, an important thing to bear in mind is the fact that URCL is in fact an intermediate language, which means you can actually make a high-level language and compile it down to URCL. Now, you might not have heard of this language, but there is a very old language called B, and it's like C, except it's ancient. And it's very simple. But this makes it ideal for URCL, because simplicity is the goal. We want it to be accessible. A compiler was actually made by one of the main project members to compile programs written in this B language to URCL. So this means that if you build a CPU which supports URCL, you can actually run programs written in B on it, which opens up a lot of opportunities because it means that real programs written in essentially real programming languages can be compiled and run on homemade CPUs. It's not just existing languages, though. New ones can also be created and compiled. For example, there is a URCL++ in the works, which is essentially how C++ is to C, but with URCL. If you want to have a look, there are a couple of links here. There's a Discord server where most of the discussion takes place, and there's also the documentation, which lists all the instructions. Well, that's the end of the presentation. Thanks for watching. Does anyone have any questions?